Tampa selects from UFA, Andrei Vasilevskiy.
18. That's how many players were drafted before Andrei Vasilevskiy in the 2012 NHL Draft. When you look at Andrei Vasilevsky's resume as a starting goalie, you'll see some truly staggering numbers. He's been a dominant force both in the regular season and in the playoffs, earning 5 straight Vezina nominations, including a win in 2019, along with the Conn Smythe Trophy as playoff MVP in 2021, and back-to-back Stanley Cups in 2020 and 2021. It's crazy to think that there were 18 players drafted ahead of him in the 2012 NHL Draft. So we're going to take a look at Andrei Vasilevsky's career before he hit the NHL and headed up to the 2012 NHL Draft, as well as looking at the 18 players drafted before him and see where they are now in terms of their NHL careers. As I record this video, we are almost at 1,000 subscribers, so please, if you could, like and subscribe for more awesome hockey videos. Anyways, enjoy. Vasilevsky spent 2 seasons before his draft year with UFA of the MHL, in which he put up some decent numbers. He posted a .937 save percentage and a 1.81 goals against average in his first season in the MHL. And in the 2011-2012 season, he posted a .931 save percentage and a 2.23 goals against average, which is really good. After Vasilevsky was drafted, he would play one more season in the MHL. He posted a 17-6 record with a 1.93 goals against average and a .930 save percentage. He made his KHL debut, and in 8 games he won 4 and only lost 1, posting a 2.22 goals against average as well as a .924 save percentage. In the 2013-14 season, Vasilevsky played 28 games with UFA in the KHL. With a 14-8 record, Vasilevsky recorded a 2.21 goals against average and a .923 save percentage. 3 of the 14 games won were shutouts. At the end of the season, Vasilevsky led all UFA goalies in games played, goals against average, save percentage, and shutouts. The 6'3" Russian monster led his team to the semifinals in the KHL playoffs that year. His goals against average was a 1.99 with a .934 save percentage. Vasilevsky won 9 out of 18 games, with one of them being a shutout. Though he was disappointed with being eliminated in the semifinals, scouts were highly impressed yet again. Vasilevsky has also shined on the international stage with Russia, appearing 3 times in the World Juniors. He won the silver medal in 2012 as well as back-to-back bronze medals in 2013 and in 2014. He was voted by coaches as one of Russia's top 3 players in each tournament he's played in. He also participated in the 2011 U18 World Junior Championships, in where he won a bronze medal. He did split time with the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Syracuse Crunch in the 2014-15 and 2015-16 seasons. Let's take a look at the 18 players drafted before Andrei Vasilevsky in the 2012 NHL Draft. At number 18, the Chicago Blackhawks selected Teuvo Teravainen. Teravainen had 10 points, 4 Genos, 6 apples in 18 playoff games as a rookie to help the Blackhawks win the Stanley Cup in 2015. He was eventually traded to the Carolina Hurricanes in 2016. He's scored 20 or more Genos 3 times in the past 5 seasons, including a personal best 23 in the 2017-18 season. Teravainen is in the top 5 among players drafted in 2012 in Genos 118 5th, apples 251 2nd, and points 369 4th. At number 17, the San Jose Sharks selected Thomas Hertl. Hertl announced himself as a budding superstar by scoring 4 Genos in his 3rd NHL game. At the age of 19, he was the 4th youngest player to score 4 in a game. His 181 Genos and 387 points in 9 NHL seasons are second among players in the 2012 NHL draft class. Hertl's 35 Genos in the 2018-19 season are the second most in a season by a 2012 drafted player, behind Philip Forsberg in the 2021-22 season. Hertl and Forsberg are the only players from the 2012 draft with multiple 30 Genos seasons. At number 16, the Washington Capitals selected Tom Wilson. Wilson's physical and scoring touch has earned him a spot on the Capitals' top line. He's scored at least 20 Genos in 3 of the past 4 seasons and set personal NHL highs in the 2021-22 season in Genos 24, apples 28, and points 52. Wilson's 1,221 penalty minutes are nearly 3 times as many as any other player from the 2012 draft class. Jacob Trouba is second with 468. He's also 6th in Genos 115 and points 273. At number 15, the Ottawa Senators selected Cody Ceci. Ceci had an NHL career best 28 points, 5 Genos, 23 apples in 78 games in the 2021-22 season. His first with the Oilers, playing the right side next to Darnell Nurse on the top defensive pair. He's had at least 20 points 4 times in 9 seasons with the Senators, Leafs, Penguins, and Oilers. And is 9th among defensemen selected in 2012 in Genos 42, apples 129, and points 171. At number 14, the Buffalo Sabres selected Zemgus Girgensons. A physical forward, Girgensons' best offensive season came in the 2014-15 season, when he had 30 points, 15 Genos, and 15 apples in 61 games. He also played in the 2015 NHL All-Star Game. His 1,002 hits are 4th among players in his draft class. He's done that while having just 157 penalty minutes. At number 13, the Dallas Stars selected Radek Faksa. Faksa had 3 straight 30-point seasons from 2016 to 2019 and scored 17 Genos in the 2017-18 season. He's been used as a bottom 6 forward who can play against the other team's top players and kill penalties. Faksa is one of 9 NHL forwards to win at least 55% of his faceoffs, and his 51.2% faceoff winning percentage is 3rd among players in his draft class, minimum 1,000 faceoffs. At number 12, the Buffalo Sabres selected Mikhail Gorenko. He has played in 249 NHL games with the Buffalo Sabres, the Colorado Avalanche, and the Columbus Blue Jackets, scoring 26 Genos and 50 apples for a total of 76 points, and is now playing in Russia. At number 11, the Washington Capitals selected Filip Forsberg. Forsberg never played a single game for the Caps, who traded him to the Nashville Predators for forwards Martin Erat and Michael Latta in 2013. He's scored 20 or more Genos in 7 of the past 8 seasons, including a personal best 42 in the 2021-22 season. Forsberg's 220 Genos are the most in Predators history, and he leads all players drafted in 2012 in Genos and points with 469. Now it's time to talk about the top 10 players drafted in the 2012 NHL Draft. At number 10, the Tampa Bay Lightning selected Slater Koekkoek. Coming into the 2012 NHL Draft, everybody knew that the Tampa Bay Lightning were looking to select a defenseman and a goalie in the first round. With their 10th overall selection, they chose defenseman Slater Koekkoek, much to the surprise of, well, everyone. With a high talent forward like Filip Forsberg still left on the draft board, Koekkoek seemed like a real stretch for the Lightning. He struggled with injuries before and after the draft, which stunned his development. While he's certainly a talented defenseman, he was pushed down the Lightning's depth chart, failing to find ice time with the team. In the 2017-18 season, he spent the majority of the season as a healthy scratch, playing in just 35 games. In the 2018-19 season, it was clearly shown that his time in Tampa was up. He was traded to the Chicago Blackhawks, ending a disappointing career with the team that drafted him. After 2 seasons with the Hawks, Koekkoek signed with the Oilers in the 2020 offseason, meaning that he was sticking around the league in a depth role. At number 9, the Winnipeg Jets selected Jacob Trouba. If you're looking at production, the Winnipeg Jets made a fantastic pick when they took Jacob Trouba 9th overall in the 2012 NHL Draft. Since becoming a full-time NHLer in the 2013-14 season, Trouba was loyal along the Jets' blue line, averaging more than 22 minutes on the ice each night. During his best season in 2018-19, he scored 50 points in 82 games, putting him in the discussion as an elite defender. However, once you look past his production, you could see that things did not go so well for Trouba in Winnipeg. He struggled with injuries, only playing more than 70 games twice in his first 6 seasons in the NHL. After he was not given the full opportunity to thrive with the Jets, Trouba requested a trade in 2016. While this issue was worked through, he would play for the Jets until the 2018-19 season. In June 2019, Trouba was traded to the New York Rangers for a first-round pick in 2019 and a prospect. After he was acquired, the Rangers wasted no time signing Trouba to a long-term extension, giving him a 7-year, $56 million contract. With commitment like that, New York is saying that the Michigan native will be one of the faces of the team's return to the Promised Land. Given his past success, all signs point toward Trouba being more than ready to take on that role. At number 8, the Pittsburgh Penguins selected Derek Pouliot. The mood around the Penguins after the 2012 draft was pure excitement, due to a massive trade that sent Jordan Staal to the Carolina Hurricanes and brought back the 8th overall pick to Pittsburgh. With this pick, the Penguins selected Derek Pouliot, who was seen at the time as a surefire NHL defenseman. As time went on though, Pouliot was unable to establish himself on the stacked and highly talented Penguins blue line. He went on to play less than 70 games with the Penguins over 3 seasons before being traded to the Canucks in 2017. This change of scenery did Pouliot well, as he played 71 games in Vancouver in the 2017-18 season, registering 22 points along the way. This is not the type of production you would expect out of a top 10 draft pick, but there was still promise for Pouliot's future. He signed a 1-year deal with the St. Louis Blues in the 2019 offseason, but he only played 2 games with them. He also played with the Knights for 2 games in the 2021-22 season, as well as the Seattle Kraken for 9 games. At number 7, the Minnesota Wild selected Matt Dumba. There was little doubt about the player that the Minnesota Wild were getting when they drafted Matt Dumba 7th overall. With the size and drive to become a top pairing defender, he had the full toolkit coming into his professional career. If given the proper time and space, he seemed like a player who would quickly put it all together. During the 2015-16 season, Matt Dumba experienced a breakout year with the Minnesota Wild, playing in 81 games and collecting 10 Genos and 26 points along the way. After increasing his scoring totals in the 2016-17 season, he had a career year in the 2017-18 season, scoring 14 Genos and 50 points, all while playing upwards of 23 minutes a night. After that successful season, he was awarded with a 5-year, $30 million extension, and he also won the King Clancy Award in 2020. At number 6, the Anaheim Ducks selected Hampus Lindholm. On the day of the draft, Lindholm was expected to be a mid-first round pick with a high upside. The Anaheim Ducks, however, believed he was the real deal and took him with the 6th overall pick, well ahead of the projections. While he may not have reached steal status as a high draft pick, the Ducks are satisfied with the pick they made. When healthy, Lindholm is that smart two-way defenseman that every franchise wants to build around. While his scoring numbers are not staggering, he constantly posted around 30 points each season. In 2022, he was traded to the Boston Bruins and was shortly signed to an 8-year, $52 million contract extension. At number 5, the Toronto Maple Leafs selected Morgan Rielly. For the better part of a decade, the Leafs struggled with a mediocre defensive corps that held them down as a team. When they drafted Morgan Rielly 5th overall in 2012, they were attempting to address this area of weakness by bringing in a young top-ended defenseman whom they can build their team around. 9 years into his NHL career with Toronto, one can safely say that the Leafs found their man on defense. Throughout the 2017-18 season, Rielly experienced a breakout year, scoring 52 points in 76 games. He followed that up with a 72-point campaign in the 2018-19 season, where the bloomin' defensive star made a serious case for Norris contention. The best part for the Leafs, though, is that the fact that Rielly is only 28 years old and is signed through the 2030 season at a reasonable $7.5 million cap hit. So not only the Leafs have a star defenseman to build their future around, but they also got him signed. Needless to say, this selection has been the best case scenario for the Leafs. At number 4, the New York Islanders selected Griffin Reinhart. Sometimes you have to know when to admit you were wrong and try to turn around a bad situation. After the Islanders drafted Griffin Reinhart 4th overall, he was sent back to the WHL to continue his development until the 2014-15 season, when the Islanders decided to pull the plug on their top pick of 2012. Reinhart only played 8 games for the Islanders and was traded to the Edmonton Oilers for a 1st and a 2nd in the 2015 draft. This trade has since become infamous for both teams, as Reinhart only played 29 games with the Oilers. Eventually, Vegas picked him up in the expansion draft and would spend most of the time in the AHL. He would play in overseas for the next few seasons before retiring in 2022. That 1st round pick the Islanders got back for Reinhart, however, was used to draft Matt Barzal, who went on and had one of the best rookie seasons in over a decade, winning the Calder Trophy in 2018. While Reinhart was a bust for the Islanders, they turned a mistake into a true superstar. At number 3, the Montreal Canadiens selected Alex Galchenyuk. Throughout his career with the Montreal Canadiens, Galchenyuk struggled with one thing: stability. He has shown flashes of greatness throughout his career since being drafted 3rd overall and joining the team as an 18-year-old. But he hasn't been able to reach this dominating play each and every night. In the 2015-16 season, he appeared to be the next superstar in Montreal after scoring a career-high 30 goals and 56 points in 82 games. Over the next 2 seasons, though, he failed to break the 20 Geno mark. while only posting 44 and 51 points respectively. During these seasons, he was moved up and down the Canadiens' nightly lineup, playing both center and wing. While this change of scenery was hoped to jumpstart the talented forward's career, it didn't have the effect the Coyotes had hoped. Just a year after that trade, Galchenyuk was traded to the Pittsburgh Penguins in exchange for Phil Kessel. However, his time in Pittsburgh was short. Galchenyuk only posted 17 points in 45 games with the Penguins before being traded to the Minnesota Wild. In the 2020 offseason, Galchenyuk signed with the Ottawa Senators and only played 8 games for the Sens before being traded to the Toronto Maple Leafs. Shortly after that season, Galchenyuk re-signed with the Coyotes. Galchenyuk appears to be a man out of place, as he lacks that scoring touch needed to be a top 6 forward, but he also struggles defensively, meaning he can't take on bottom 6 ice time either. Due to this, he may continue to bounce around the league until he finds a way to round out his game. In other words, he's a suitcase. At number 2, the Columbus Blue Jackets selected Ryan Murray. When the Columbus Blue Jackets drafted Ryan Murray second overall, they did so with the expectations that they found the top defensive prospect in a draft loaded with high-end defensive talent. While it's difficult to judge defensemen due to how long it can take for them to develop a complete game, it looks like that Murray will never become the top pairing defender the Jackets hoped he could. It wasn't his fault. Injuries limited Murray's development throughout his professional career, with the young defender only playing a complete season once in 6 years with the Jackets. His points totals fell from 2016 through 2018 as he only posted 23 points over those 2 seasons. Murray is far from a bad player. After having a bounce-back 2018-19 season where he posted 29 points in 56 games, the Jackets re-signed him to a 2-year $9.2 million contract, before trading him to the Devils in the 2020 offseason for a 5th-round pick. While in New Jersey, Murray had the opportunity to be a veteran on a young developing team. In the 2020-21 season, he averaged 18 minutes of ice time per game in 48 games, showcasing that he still has a lot of ice time left in him. In the 2021 offseason, he signed a 1-year deal with the Avs, and luck would have it, he won the Stanley Cup with the Avs that season. At number 1, the Edmonton Oilers selected Nail Yakupov. Of the 4 first overall picks made by the Edmonton Oilers throughout the 2010s, Yakupov was the most disappointing by far. While he had top-end scoring talent, he lacked the hockey IQ to make the step from juniors to the NHL. Yakupov's rookie season was his best in Edmonton, as he scored 17 Genos and 31 points in a lockout-shortened season. Despite this strong start, his career stalled as he only managed to break 30 points once more with the Oilers. In 2016, after playing 4 seasons in Edmonton, he was traded to the Blues for a conditional 3rd-round pick and a prospect, in which he scored 9 points in 40 games. He spent 1 year with the Blues before signing with the Avs in 2017, where he put up 9 Genos and 16 points as a depth winger for the team. At all points in his NHL career, Yakupov failed to meet the expectations of a 1st overall pick. Even as a depth winger, he was unable to find that scoring magic that made him the top prospect within his draft class. After his disappointing NHL career, Yakupov returned to the KHL, and he's one of the biggest draft busts of the 2010s. We've looked at every single player that was drafted before Andrei Vasilevskiy in the 2012 NHL draft. Lottery picks aren't everything in the NHL, and not like the NBA how only the best players come in the top picks with the exception for a couple. It's crazy to think that 15 teams have passed on this once-in-a-generational goalie. He's one of the best goalies in the world, or maybe perhaps one of the greatest goalies of our generation. The best part is that he's still young and could very well win more Stanley Cups and Vezina trophies in the future. We're running out of time. Comment below on what player I should do next, and as always, thanks for watching.